Super Mario Bros. Set the standard for the 2D platformer. The Lost Levels... Super Mario Bros. 2, while technically not a Mario game, did experiment with what could be done and introduce new concepts. Super Mario Bros. 3 would push the limits of what could be done with Mario on the original NES, and Super Mario World would prove that Nintendo had perfected the genre. So what would you do when you've hit your peak? Start over and begin anew, or try to make something even better? Well, for Nintendo, they decided that if they couldn't evolve Mario any further, then instead they were going to revolutionize him. As early as 1991, Nintendo was experimenting with the concept of a 3D Mario game, with it entering full development in 1993. It was being made for the Nintendo
Ultra 64.
There was just one problem. What even was a 3D platformer? What did they look like? There were a few 3D platforming games at the time, but none were really what Nintendo had in mind for Mario, so they pretty much had to invent a genre. After a few delays, the Nintendo 64 launched in June of 1996 and September later that year in America, and right at the launch was Super Mario 64. And Pilot Wing 64, you can't forget Pilot Wing 64. To say that the impact this game had was substantial would honestly be an understatement. Mario 64 would go on to be the best-selling game on the N64 and would set the gold standard for how 2D games should transition to 3D. It was praised by fans and critics alike and would just so happen to be one of the earliest games that I can recall playing. I've had this copy and this N64 since I was 3 years old, and I've absolutely gotten my time out of both of them. They've treated me pretty well, and thus I do the same to them in turn. Sure, the N64 may not have had games as big as what you could get on the PlayStation, but that didn't matter to me. Hell, it still doesn't matter to me. When I play games, I just want to have the most fun I can, and Mario 64 has given me some of the best feelings I've ever had gaming. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, this is one of my favorite video games of all time. Actually, it was my favorite game for quite a while. To me, this is what a game should be, but let's save that for later. Now, how should we play this? There is, of course, the N64 original, but there's also the All-Stars port, but I don't really like that one a whole lot. We could do the Wii U Virtual Console, but that has input lag issues, not to mention the screen darkening. There is the unofficial PC port, screw it, let's do them all. For those who are new, I'm CeeCee, and let me tell you why Super Mario 64 has delivered 30 years of pure bliss and whimsy.
It's me, Mario! Hello!
Huh, interesting choice to have Mario's decapitated head displayed right in front of us on the title screen. This is surprisingly high quality for the time, and I genuinely think that this still looks good to this day. Of course, there is more you can do here other than, look at him. You can grab Mario's nose, cap, mustache, mouth, and ears and just mess with his whole face, and even get it to hold in place by pressing down the Z button to create true abominations. You do all of this to a brand new rendition of the classic Super Mario Bros. Theme, which I bet was done to ease players into the 3D transition. After we've had our fun, we can press start to get to the file select screen and, one moment. Okay, now we can begin proper.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
Yeah, you heard that right. We have voice acting now. Not much of it, mind you, but thanks to Leslie Swan, Princess Peach has a voice. She's not the only one who speaks, though, as the Italian plumber himself now talks, courtesy of Charles Martinet. This isn't his first time voicing Mario, however, as he also did his voice for some trade shows, as well as PC edutainment software like Mario Teaches Typing 2 and Mario's Fundamentals.
Please give me your Luigi's.
There are multiple Luigis? Martinet's performance is so iconic at this point, mainly due to the fact that he would go on to voice Mario in over 100 games, claiming a Guinness World Record while he was at it. When he finally did retire and Mario's current voice actor, Kevin Afghani, took over the role, he would pretty much just do his best to mimic Martinet's take on the Red Italian, though to me, Charles Martinet will always be the voice of Mario in my heart. After Mario jumps out of the pipe, we can spend a bit of time in the front yard of Peach's castle getting used to this new kind of Mario game. You of course now move with the analog stick rather than the D-pad for greater movement options. This also completely eliminates the need for a run button. Jump is on the A button now, and with B, Mario can perform this punch-punch-kick combo. Yeah, Mario can punch things now. It's a little absurd if you ask me. Mario punching things. Imagine if Nintendo made a fighting game featuring their iconic characters just wailing on each other. Like that would ever sell. That's just Mario's basic movement options. You can also perform a double jump, which can lead into a triple jump, allowing Mario to reach heights he has never seen before. Then there's the somersault, the midair dive, the wall kick. That's not even mentioning what can be done with the Z button, as Mario can now crouch with it, allowing him to crawl and perform this backflip. And if you press the Z button while in midair, Mario will perform a ground pound. There is one other move, that being this break kick maneuver, that has such a disgustingly short range that it is never useful, though I do tend to use it as a sort of victory dance for if I pull off some pretty cool looking shit. As we approach the castle, we'll be stopped by Lakitu, who acts as our cameraman for the game. With the C buttons on the N64 controller, we can freely move Lakitu around to get the best angles while platforming. You can even move the camera further away or get it up close and personal with the R button. You can even go into this camera mode where Mario locks in place and you move his head to look around. There are some moments where it can get a little jank though, like here where Lakitu got caught on a piece of land, like, yes, this is a very nice blurry grass texture. Now can you please come back down here so I can see myself? Upon entering the castle, we hear a voice echo through the halls telling us nobody is home and to scram. We then see a lone Toad who informs us that Bowser has stolen all of the power stars from the castle and has used their power to trap everyone inside the castle walls, as well as create worlds inside the various paintings throughout the castle. Peach's castle acts as the hub world connecting everything together in the game, and honestly, I very much love this place. It's never confusing to navigate, and honestly, while it can feel a little eerie at times since you are pretty much the only person running around here, I only find it comforting, not to mention I think the music helps with that as well. We can't go through most of these doors as they require a certain amount of power stars to unlock and open, except this unlabeled one, which allows us to access our first level, Bob-omb Battlefield. As soon as we land, you might notice just how expansive the area is, and that's because in order to take advantage of the 3D space, Nintendo ditched the linear structure of Mario for an open level sandbox with multiple objectives. Bob-omb Battlefield is also host to an ongoing war between the friendly pink Bob-ombs and the aggressive black Bob-ombs. I feel like there could be political and social commentary here, but I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. It's within this first level that the true genius of Mario 64 shines in spades. We need to collect power stars to progress. There are a total of 120 stars, but only 70 are required to access the final level. Now, in Bob-omb Battlefield, we have 2 stars that we can get right off the bat. You could go and do the star that we selected when we entered the painting, and climb to the top of the mountain to take on King Bob-omb for his star, or you could free this Chain Chomp and get this Cage Star instead. With very few exceptions, nearly every star is available to Mario, no matter what mission you select when entering. And that right there is what I mean by the genius of this game. There is no true first star, because there are several stars that can be your first you collect. Mario 64 doesn't care which stars you get, or hell, even if you get them in the way that they intended you to. As long as that counter in the top right says 70 or more at that final star door, that's all the game cares about. As you play more Bob-omb Battlefield, you'll become more familiar with the structure of some of the reoccurring missions, such as the red coin missions, which require you to find 8 red coins in the level to spawn a star. These are for the most part fairly easy in nearly every level they're in, as the coins are visible from afar. Only the red coins though, regular coins not so much. Actually, this game's render distance is really short. But that's assuming you're playing the official versions of the game. The PC port allows you to max out the draw distance so that everything is visible no matter what. The 15 major courses in the game have a total of 7 stars hidden throughout them, requiring Mario to perform specific challenges or simply get to certain spots within the level. These can range from boss fights to red coins, finding secret spots, occasionally a foot race with Koopa the Quick, or collecting 100 coins in the level, which will automatically spawn the star directly above you. The 100 coin stars can be a bitch at times, as some of these levels have just barely enough coins to reach that goal of 100. Like, there will be several times here where you need to look all over the whole level to reach 100. Unfortunately, the red coins act as 2 coins, so it's often recommended to get the 100 coin star when you're doing the red coin mission, especially since the 100 coin star doesn't kick you out of the level when collected, unlike every other star in the game. I get kicking you out for the few missions that require selecting them when starting, but if I say, get this one on the floating island, then why do I need to be booted out for the next one? After a bit, we're able to collect 6 of the 7 stars within Bob-on Battlefield, as we can't get that last one without unlocking something else first. I mean, you can still get it, just expect it to, take a while. So with 6 stars in hand, all of the levels in the castle foyer are now open to us, except the 8-star door. You might want to look into this 1-star door at the top right of the room, however, as it leads to this small area with these stained glass windows of Peach. Well, it just so happens that we can enter one of them and find the Princess's Secret Slide. Slide levels are somewhat reoccurring in Mario 64, with this one awarding us 2 stars, one for just reaching the end, and another for clearing it in under 21 seconds. These aren't fully fledged levels, however, as these kind of areas contain one of the 15 secret stars hidden throughout the castle. With 1 star, we can enter Whomp's Fortress, this floating fortress level that sees us having to explore all around for stars. This is one of my favorite levels in the game, to be honest, and it's not just because it returns in Galaxy 2. I feel this level just really shows what you can do with Mario. For example, the Whomps here need to be ground pounded in order to be defeated, shoot into the Wild Blue wants you to use this cannon to reach the star, but with a well-placed jump into a wall kick, you can reach it without the cannon. This cage star wants you to use this owl to drop in from above, but with a well-placed triple jump, you can get into the cage without the owl. Lastly is this star where you need to blast away the wall to reveal it, which is the easy way to go about it, or you can just have big dick energy and pull off a speedrun strat on your second go without doing the proper setup first. I am a gamer god! Returning to the castle lobby, you might notice this blatantly obvious beam of light that wasn't there before shining down on the carpet. Well, if you look up at it, Mario will be transported to the Wing Cap stage, where we need to use this power-up to glide around and collect 8 red coins for another secret star. At the bottom is this red switch that when pressed will change the corresponding exclamation mark blocks into boxes that now contain the Wing Cap. Power-ups make their return here, as it simply just wouldn't be a Mario game without them. However, they're handled differently than they were in the 2D games. Since Mario has health now, power-ups act as a temporary extension to Mario, and these can even be required for certain stars. This can lead to them being somewhat situational, especially a certain one which we will talk about later, but I think overall these are fine. The Wing Cap specifically allows Mario to fly, or well, really glide, as gaining height with the thing just isn't as easy as the Super Cape was in Mario World, but I enjoy using it. It controls fine, although it's a little slow on the turning. We can even now return to Bob-on Battlefield and get that last star with it. Behind the right side 3-star door is this secret aquarium, which sees us gather 8 red coins for our secret star, but also the next course, Jolly Roger Bay. This is such an atmospheric level with the moody blue color scheme of it all. This is of course a water level, and fortunately Mario's underwater controls are very fluid. You can repeatedly press the A button to swim or hold it down for slower movement. Mario does require air now, but hilariously, his health meter is also shared by his air, so if you're in a level with water and are running low on health, you can just go for a quick swim and your health will be completely refilled. The music here is so serene as well. Honestly, Koji Kondo did another really bang-up job with the music, which I would expect from him. The main theme of the game you hear in a lot of the levels is just fantastic. The slider theme feels really fast and chaotic, probably thanks to that banjo. Inside the castle walls is great for the castle, and is what I typically think of whenever I think of Princess Peach and music. Koopa's Road, which is used for the Bowser levels, is without a doubt my favorite Bowser theme in the entire series. Yeah, sure, this theme does come back, where it's fully orchestrated with a choir crying out in the background, but I always preferred the more atmospheric feel of the N64 original. Alright, back to Jolly Roger Bay. This is a nice level to introduce Mario's swimming mechanics, and it has plenty to do within it. The first mission here has you go into this sunken ship, but first, you need to lure this massive eel out, and this thing scared me as a child. You can't kill it as far as I know, and honestly, just look at it! I was always afraid that the thing would just... Cool Mountain requires 3 stars to access and is one of 2 snow levels in the game. Something I appreciate about this level is that you start at the top of the mountain, which gives you tons of ways down. That being sliding down the snowy path outside, just straight up jumping down the mountain, which is the fastest method, or you can enter this cottage and take this icy slide down. On Mission 3 onwards, there will be this big penguin who will race you down this slide, but the catch is you can't take any shortcuts or he'll call you out for cheating. Alright, I made it! I wonder where... Alright, you know what, just for that? There goes your son. Or daughter. I'm assuming that they're your child, I don't know. Now, we could go and do the first Bowser level now, or you could head to this back corridor where a Big Boo is just kinda hanging around. Heading through the door, we enter the castle's courtyard, which after a certain amount of stars has been collected, will be infested with boos. You can even spot this neat star statue. Anyway, by ground pounding the Big Boo out here, we can enter the next level, Big Boo's Hunt. Now, I have a bit of a confession to make. I was scared shitless of this place as a child. The music here is very spooky when combined with the howling winds outside. There's all of the booze in the area, the merry-go-round in the mansion's basement, that fucking piano that was a straight-up jump scare for me. Fortunately, the 100 coin star is piss easy since a lot of the enemies drop blue coins. In fact, come to think of it, a lot of the stars here are pretty easy. There's this one star that requires going through this hallway full of bookshelves and punching in these books in a specific order to move the bookcase out of the way, or with a well-timed jump, you can just skip all of that and get the star much faster. Okay, finally, we can move on to the first Bowser level, Bowser in the Dark World. Bowser stages are a lot more like traditional Mario levels in that they're for the most part getting from point A to point B, and these will really test your knowledge and skills with the game up to that point. These do have red coins to collect, but they're for the most part on the beaten path, so you shouldn't have to go too far out of your way to get them. I will say, the thing that I enjoy the most about this level, or well, just the Bowser levels in general, is the various enemies and platforming challenges that you'll have to face. Not to mention, thanks to the more open nature of Mario 64, you can pull off some pretty cool looking tricks in these. At the end is a pipe that will take us to Bowser, who the 3D transition was not very kind to. Jeez, the N64 really hit him with the ugly stick. Only in the game though, his 3D renders look good. When Bowser greets us, he hints at what we need to do in order to defeat him. That being, we need to grab him by the tail and spin him right round like a record, try to line up your throw with one of the bombs, and then... Now you can do this the intended way, or you could try to get him closer to the bomb for a much easier throw. Either way, after one hit, Bowser will retreat to a different location as he drops a key. This key will allow us to access the basement of the castle, and no, before you ask, you cannot be sneaky and use it to access the second floor. Trust me, I tried. Now, let's take a break really quick to discuss some of the more mysterious things surrounding this game. Of course, now with the decomp and the leaked source code, we literally know everything there is in the game, but for years, Mario 64 was the subject of various rumors. This also wasn't helped by the SM64 iceberg, which propelled the game into being viewed as a somewhat more spooky and mysterious game, with things like every copy being personalized, the Wario apparition, Wet Dry World's negative emotional aura, and most infamously...
Have you seen Luigi?
God damn it, Mario, what did I tell you? You know what, that's actually a good question. Where is Luigi? According to developer interviews, they did try to implement a 2-player co-op feature, but due to limitations of the N64, it was cut, and so was Luigi. That didn't stop internet rumors from saying that he was in the game, with you needing to perform various obtuse tasks to unlock him. I remember this one that I actually did, involving standing on the star statue in the courtyard for 24 hours and 1 minute, as the plaque on the statue allegedly says L is real 2401. Of course it didn't work, and sure enough, Luigi just isn't in the game. Or so we thought. When the game's source code leaked, a ton of beta assets were found inside, one of which just happened to be the model and textures for Luigi. He was in the game, just not in the state where you could play as him. And of course, this was found out on July of 2020, 24 years and 1 month after the release of Mario 64. Coincidence? Yeah, probably. Now, the basement is a little eerie, but there's nothing down here that's super creepy. Some people will say that the fireball painting was scary for them, but oddly, I never really thought much of it. If you have 15 stars by this point, then this yellow bunny will spawn. This is Mips the rabbit, and he is a pain in the ass to catch if you don't know the best way to go about that. He awards us with a star for letting him go, at least. Not to mention, there's also this toad that we can talk to by the entrance of Hazy Maze Cave, who will also give us a star. Before we go on to any of the major courses, we can head into this flooded room in the castle and ground pound these 2 pillars to drain the water both in the room and the moat outside. This gives us access to the basement from the outside of the castle, but also allows us to enter this hole in the moat to enter the Vanish Cap stage. The Vanish Cap is the prime example of situational power-ups in a Mario game. First of all, it only lasts for like 20 seconds, and second of all, this thing is barely used at all in any of the levels. It's probably only needed for like 3 to 4 stars in the whole game. Mario just becomes intangible for a bit, allowing him to pass through certain walls and grates. He also becomes invincible for a bit while it's active. Then, by going into Hazy Maze Cave and delving all the way to the pond deep within, we can find the entrance to the Metal Cap stage, and this place is very small, but I love the look of the metallic crystals in here, as well as the look of Metal Mario himself. In fact, Metal Mario would be so well liked that he would pretty much go on to become his own separate character and appear in spin-offs in other Nintendo games. As for the ability itself, I view this as a better Vanish Cap. Mario is completely invulnerable while it's active, and because of the metal, he sinks while underwater. With all 3 caps now active, we can go back to Jolly Roger Bay and Big Boo's Haunt and get the last few stars that we couldn't get without the caps. With that, we can head back into the basement, and since we already had to go through it to get the metal cap, let's talk about Hazy Maze Cave next. I think out of all of the levels in the basement, this is honestly my favorite. The green rock texture on the floors and walls can look very pretty at times. Well, pretty in terms of, N64 game. Anyway, I also love how the whole level just kind of wraps around itself. Like, there are a ton of paths that lead to this boulder chamber. Getting 100 coins here can be a bitch, but it's mostly due to how the level is structured. Lastly is that pond in the depths with Nessie swimming in it. The texture here, it honestly kind of reminds me of Jupiter with the mess of tan and orange colors. There is a lot to find in this level, and I love it. Lethal Lava Land is the lava level of the game, and it's very open with all of the platforms letting you long jump around from place to place instead of taking the intended routes. Also, be careful not to fall into the lava. It won't insta-kill Mario like in the older games, but it will take a massive chunk of his health. Something I always appreciate about Lethal Lava Land is how fast you can get all of the stars here. The bullies, they'll put up a fight, but you can lure them to the ledges and knock them in for a quick kill. The red coins are all just self-contained on this sliding puzzle with an older piece of Bowser artwork on it. Then, there's this log, which will take the longest to get to, but there is a much faster way to get to that star in particular, especially involving the wing cap. You can even dive into this miniature volcano. Oh, no, I guess it's a big volcano. How the hell did this place grow? Or did Mario shrink? Anyway, the first star here isn't too easy to get to. It's just on the beaten path laid out in front of you. But behind you is the route to the other star in here, which requires riding these slow-ass platforms to get to, which was admittedly a little difficult to do when I was little. Shifting Sandland is the one and only desert level in the game, and I'm glad it is. I'm not a big fan of sand areas, to be honest. There's a lot of quicksand all over the place, and while some of it just causes Mario to slowly sink, others aren't so kind and will just pull him in instantly. This vulture named Klepto, who actually holds the first star for the course, can steal Mario's cap, increasing the amount of damage Mario will take. Say a Goomba deals 1 HP, well now it'll deal 2 HP. You can get your hat back by giving Klepto a good kick to the nads, so it's not too much trouble. Obviously, the pyramid near the middle of the stage might catch your attention, and there are actually 2 ways in. One is much more apparent, where you just need to enter at the base of the pyramid, and you have to climb all the way up where, sure enough, a star is waiting for you at the top, which me and my friends, we honestly thought you had to reach this thing in 2 minutes to collect it. You don't, by the way, it's just, I don't even know where we got that from. On the outside, you have to stand on these 4 pillars, which will make the top of the pyramid explode off, allowing you to enter from the top and access Irock, one of many Nintendo hand bosses. Just smack his hand eyes and grab the star. Alright, now we can fucking miss you again! Oh, come here, you little son of a bitch. Come on, you little shit. Come on, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you, you little hoppy little, belly bastard. We can now enter the 30 star door, which is where that aforementioned Wario apparition would appear, which I don't know why, but when that iceberg first came out, I was a little off-put by this hall for a while afterwards, thinking Wario's head might actually manifest and go, "You want fun? Wario show you fun!" We can enter this mesmerizing water wall to reach the next level, Dire Docks. So in order to do the second Bowser level, we need to clear the first star here, which will push the level entrance for Dire Docks further back. I would recommend doing what you can here though, as it's a very nice level and rather calming since it uses the same music as Jolly Roger Bay. The first section of this level holds some stars of its own, but the real sea meat of it all resides through the tunnel that leads to this massive submarine docking bay. Not only do you need to get the star on Bowser's sub to progress to the next Bowser level, but this stage has a cool concept that we don't ever see again. A star here requires you to have both the metal cap and the vanish cap at the same time. Yeah, you can combine power-ups, but this is never done again, and I don't know why! There's even a metal wing texture for if you have both the wing and metal caps at the same time, which that could have led to some cool missions, but for whatever reason, it's never used again. Bowser in the Fire Sea is the second Bowser level, and this is a lot more deadly on account of the lava everywhere. Just like the first level, there are 8 red coins to collect along the way for another star. Outside of that, this level is rather straightforward, just like the previous one. Just avoid getting shocked, burned, or bullied by the bullies, and you'll reach the entrance to the second Bowser fight. So Bowser will start off by jumping really high and then slamming back down, causing the entire arena to tilt significantly from side to side, which can make this fight a lot more difficult. But just like before, you can cheese him by goading him closer to the bombs, so you don't have to actually throw him as far. He can also teleport in this fight, but I strangely never got him to do it. With that, Bowser retreats yet again, leaving behind another key to the second floor of the castle. Now, I would say it's a good time for a second break before we tackle the last part of the game, and I know exactly what I want to talk about. It's time for CeeCee Tries Not to Draw the Ire of Nintendo. ROM!
Hang on, I can fix this. Okay, there.
Thanks, man. Anyway, now on to the ROM
You know you
hack.
skipped the game again, right?
What fucking game? I did all the 2D Marios.
Super Mario World 2? Yoshi's Island. Shut up.
I'm just messing with you. I'm not actually gonna do. Don't you ever try to correct me in one of my videos again! Super Mario 64 has to have the most amount of ROM hacks and mods I've seen for a game like this, next to say the classic Sonic games. I simply just want to touch on some of my personal favorites that I just so happen to have on my PC. Super Mario Star Road was perhaps for the longest time the gold standard for full game ROM hacks of SM64, but for some odd reason I was having trouble getting it working properly in my emulator. I used Parallel Launcher, and no matter which plugin I used, it was having trouble loading certain textures. I am using the console compatible version by K's Emanuar, so that might have had something to do with it. Fortunately, the Co-op Deluxe mod supports Star Road, so I just played it through that instead. It's fun and a great showcase of what people could do with the game as far back as early 2010 when ROM hacking tools were much more primitive. I'd recommend it, just know it's a bit more difficult, as I bet it was designed with the idea that not only have you played the original game, but you also have access to save states. I suppose now would be a good time to mention Co-op Deluxe. This is a native port of the game running on PC made by fans using the decompiled source code. You can get up to 16 people to play through the whole game with you, which can lead to some shenanigans throughout the castle. You can even install mods that allow you to play ROM hacks or even add new characters with unique movesets like Zero from Mega Man X or Speedrunner Mario, who can just break the sound barrier like it's a fucking normal thing to do. You can even play as Sonic the Hedgehog! So the mod is broken, it keeps showing this script error, and I am using the most up-to-date version of both Co-op Deluxe and the Sonic mod, so I genuinely have no clue what could be causing this. Peach's Fury is a ROM hack by K's Emanuar and is inspired by Bowser's Fury, and this is amazing to see. Just shows you that with what we now know of Mario 64 and the N64 hardware, just what is possible. An open world with tons of stuff to do, high quality music, better frame rate, better controls, and all of this while still being compatible with the original hardware.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have been...
Lol. So Mario has what I would like to imagine is the super shotgun ripped right out of Doom, and now literally nothing can stop him. The platforming opportunities the shotgun opens up is enormous, not to mention the amount of interactivity the shotgun has with enemies, objects, the levels. This is impressive, so Dan GPTV some love and play this and rate the ROM hack highly, please. I need more gunslinging Mario. Give him a railgun next. Mario Builder 64 is exactly what you think it is. Take the concept of the Mario Maker games and apply that to Mario 64. There's a lot you can do here when it comes to what you can make. Just come up with an idea and let your imagination run wild. I present to you Caged with a Chili Bully. It's not a very good level, I have to admit. You can also share your levels and play other people's levels, just like the actual Mario Maker games, so if that interests you, play it. There are even ROM hacks that are aimed at recreating the beta Mario 64 experience. It can be fun to see what a game you hold so dear looked like before it was finished and... wait a minute. No, this isn't right. The castle keeps going. No, this isn't normal. This isn't real. This is a ROM hack that takes inspiration from not only Mario 64's beta, but the aforementioned Iceberg and other media, such as Mario 64 Classified. There are over 193 levels within the castle plexus, hosting 460 stars! It's so weird to play this. It's like a fever dream, seeing this bizarro, contorted version of a game that I know like the back of my hand. I recall having a dream when I was around 3 or 4 years old, where Mario would run around this very nondescript grassy area and would do a triple jump into a star, collecting it, and then I'd wake up. I swear, it feels like B3313 could manifest that dream into reality somehow. Even the music sounds like something that I could have heard in a dream. If you play a lot of Mario 64 and haven't played this ROM hack, you are honestly doing yourself a disservice. Play B3313 and just go with the flow of the game. Let it take you on its own journey. Just know that there are some things within the castle plexus that might not be so... welcoming. Alright, back to the actual Mario 64. The castle's second floor hosts even more levels and another Toad who is decreed to give us a star. Now I say we tackle Wet Dry World first. Now right off the bat, depending on the height you enter the painting, will determine the height that the water is when you begin the level. The gimmick with this course is that you can change the water level, which is required for certain stars. It's a fun, more vertical level in spite of that negative emotional aura that the place elicits. It has some good platforming, and that's not even mentioning the sunken city you can find, which always did feel off. Like, why is there a town down here? Who lived here? Who flooded the place? Why is this one of the few places to host a Vanish Cap? Tall Tall Mountain is one hell of a level, as you gotta scale this mountain, go figure, with stars placed around at various points. You can even find a monkey! Don't catch him though, as if you do, he'll steal your hat. This monkey on the second mission, though, you do want to catch, as he takes us to this caged star and breaks it open for us. Honestly, because of the vertical nature of this stage, you can get a lot of stars the unintended way, like this one on the side of the mountain where you're supposed to take this hidden slide to reach, or this one requiring shooting to via a cannon, but with a well-placed long jump, you can just grab it without the hassle. In this mirror room, which I honestly thought was one of the coolest visual tricks when I first saw it, we can see this painting on the wall in the reflection, but it isn't there in our reality. Well, if we jump into that wall where it should be, we can find the next level, Snowman's Land. This level is fine, but I do prefer Cool Mountain to it. At the center of the level is a giant snowman who will mistake us for a snow flea when we try to climb him. A snow flea, is that even a real thing? Huh, they are. We can even find this tiny igloo, which, of course it's bigger on the inside. This is also the last time we see the Vanish Cap, so say goodbye to it if you really cared about it. This is also the only level with a chili bully, specifically the boss version. There are regular-sized chili bullies, but they go completely unused for some reason. Tiny Huge Island is pretty similar in concept to Giant Land from Mario 3, but you can switch between these small and big versions of the level via these pipes. You can even choose which version of the level to start off in, depending on which of the two paintings you hop into. The normal size painting doesn't work, unfortunately. Maybe there was supposed to be a third version of the level that had it at a normal size. Anyway, you have your second foot race with Koopa the Quick here, which is a lot more strict than the first. You even fight the one and only Wiggler in the game here. They're a boss for some reason, and not a very challenging one to be honest. Just jump on them 3 times and they just give up the star. With all of the levels on the second floor taken care of, we can head to the third floor star door, which requires 50 stars to enter. You know, we could just head straight to the final Bowser fight right now if we wanted to. Anyway, we got 2 more full courses up here and a sub-level, as well as another Toad who will give us a free star. Tick-Tock Clock is the second most difficult level in the game. It has some tight-ass platforming, which can definitely lead to your demise if you aren't careful, and that's not even mentioning the pendulums, rotating platforms, the blocks, the conveyors, even the enemies. What's cool about this place is that you somewhat have control of the speed at which the clock's internals move. Depending on where the minute hand is when you enter the clock, its internals will either be slow, fast, stationary, or random. For the most part, you want literally anything but random, as it makes things exponentially more difficult here. At least the fast setting has its advantages with the missions where you need to ride the clock hand. At long last, we reach the final main level, Rainbow Ride, which is without a doubt the hardest level in the game, as it's not only very open, but over a constant bottomless pit, and I, to be honest, don't really like this level that much. Come to think of it, I think it's my least favorite level in the game, and it really doesn't have much to do with the difficulty. It's because of the goddamn carpets, they're so slow! Any mission that requires riding them takes forever to do, so I often do what I can to kind of, skim out on the full ride. Outside of those missions, this does have some fun challenges like the red coins in this giant ant farm-like maze, or these two platforming challenges, mainly the one with the upside down pyramids, as the timing for it is very strict. With that, we now have only 2 stars left in the game to find. Now, opposite of where the Rainbow Ride entrance is located is the final sub-level, which sees us needing to gather 8 red coins in the clouds with the wing cap. This isn't particularly difficult, it's just annoying if you fall, because if you fall down, instead of losing a life, you get dropped outside of the castle, meaning you gotta run all the way back up, and when I was much younger and wasn't very good at this, was a source of frustration. Alright, now we can tackle the final area, which requires 70 stars to access. You can enter the staircase without 70 stars, but it will loop endlessly, unless you perform the backwards long jump, one of the most famous glitches in the game, which allows you to...
What is that? What's that sound?
Bowser in the Sky, the final level, and it will definitely test everything you know and all of the skills you've acquired throughout the whole game. You must ascend to the top of the level while avoiding various enemies and collecting 8 red coins along the way, which will spawn the 120th star. With every star in the game now under our possession, we can head into the pipe and confront Bowser one final time. Bowser gloats in our face about how we'll never see the princess again as we engage in the final battle. We can, like before, goat Bowser into running closer to the bombs for a cheap shot, but after Bowser lands, he gets back up. This is Bowser at his most powerful, his ultimate state. He can now create shockwaves that will damage Mario if he comes into contact with them, so be sure to jump over them. After goating Bowser a second time and exploding a bomb in his face, he gets back up and starts slamming the ground, causing the arena to break away into the shape of a star. We have to make the throw now. We can't cheese him anymore. I'm reminded of my first time being here as a child, trying again and again to make that throw, only to miss and have to try again, dying repeatedly and being down to my last life. My heart was pounding as I grabbed his tail, swung him around, and then... I did it! A core pillar of my childhood, one of the earliest games I've ever played, conquered. If you collected all 120 stars, Bowser will be shocked to learn that there were that many in total and will compliment us, the player, before vanishing to watch the ending from afar. With the grand star in front of us, I can't help but think about what all this game has done for me. The fun it's provided me, the memories it gave me, the community that I've gladly been a part of because of it. Well, with everything else done, I suppose there's only one thing left to do. Mario descends back to the front of the castle as the Grand Star works its magic and breaks Bowser's curse, freeing the residents inside, including our fair princess, who thanks Mario for restoring the power of the stars to the castle and promptly plants a kiss on Mario's nose. As Peach heads inside to bake that cake she promised for Mario, the plumber takes one last look up at us before Peach beckons him inside, ending Super Mario 64. Well, kind of. While the game may be over, the fun never truly ends. If you've collected all 120 stars, then this cannon in the front of the castle will open up, allowing us to launch Mario to the roof of the castle and find Yoshi! He gives us a thank you message from the Mario 64 dev team and awards us 100 lives and a brand new move, the invincible triple jump. Now when Mario performs the triple jump, he'll do this twirl with sparkles coming out of him. This will make him completely invulnerable for a bit, allowing you to pull off some pretty cool looking tricks. The penguin you race in Cool Cool Mountain also bulks up, making him much harder to race, but other than that, we really are done with Mario 64. Honestly, what else can I say? There is a reason I love this game so much, and it's because of everything I've said throughout this whole video. But if I had to sum it all up, it would be freedom. The freedom to do whatever you want. Mario 64 is more like a sandbox where you have objectives, but when you do them, how you do them, or if you even do them at all, I think perfectly exemplifies why Super Mario 64 is so amazing to me. We would never see another 3D Mario game like this again for over 2 decades, as 3D Mario would become more linear and more like the 2D games. Part of the reason Mario 64 was made the way it was because of the 3D aspect of it all. It's such a liberating game to be able to do whatever you want that I always take the time to play it 2 or 3 times a year. Hell, for this video, I did 4 separate playthroughs. One on All-Stars, then on N64, then with the Co-op Deluxe mod, and then finally a 16-star speedrun on the Wii U Virtual Console for shits and giggles. Not to mention all of the ROM hacks I played for this, and yeah, I was getting pretty burnt out by the end there, but I'd gladly do it again, and at some point, I will do it again. Super Mario 64 is a game I wish I could experience again for the first time, just for that sheer whimsy and bliss I could get from it again. However, replaying it is more than enough to make me fall in love with it all over again, and I couldn't be more glad to say that. It's why Super Mario 64 for the longest time, until a certain other Mario game came along, was my favorite video game of all time.
Thank you so much for playing my game.
I kinda got choked up at the end there, I can't lie, but everything I said was real. The next time we visit Mario & Co. will be on the GameCube with Super Mario Sunshine. Subscribe to the channel if that sounds interesting to you, and leave a like and a comment should you choose. And with all of that said, have a great day or night. Peace.